I'm Sandra, and I'm just the professional your small business was looking for. But you didn't hire me because you didn't use LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn has professionals you can't find anywhere else, including those who aren't actively looking for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role, like me.
In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you'll miss out on great candidates like Sandra. Start hiring professionals like a professional. Post your free job on linkedin.com/qualify today.
Elevate your game in the all-new Hyundai Santa Fe, the capable SUV that features premium interiors with available captain's chairs, available dual wireless device charging, and bold new technology, all with plenty of room for your cargo and crew. Okay, Hyundai. Visit HyundaiUSA.com to learn more about the all-new 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe.
Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, distribute it everywhere, and even earn money, all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit your podcasts right from your phone or your computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify, and when you want to take conversations with your fans to the next level, Q&As and polls are the best way to get them talking. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. Ever since I discovered Spotify for Podcasters, I feel so supported in the creation and distribution of my show. Spotify for Podcasters hosts masterclasses, office hours, and more to help creators develop and fine-tune their skills. I highly recommend you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Back to the Show. Thank you so much for clicking on today's episode. It is currently 11:15 p.m. on Sunday night. I'm feeling chatty for some odd reason, even though I should be like super tired. And I just felt kind of inspired to press record. And the reason being, I have spent the past probably like 2-ish hours just kind of like picking up around the house, but almost in like a therapeutic way. I definitely think that a clear space equals a clear mind, and I am currently doing everything I can to lower my stress levels and just make my life better in every way possible. And we'll kind of get into why in a little bit when we talk about our highs and lows. But I've just been very cluttered in my mind, in my house, in my life in general. And tonight I just had one of those moments where I had my headphones on and I was doing the dishes after dinner, and I just kept going. Like, I just started to pick up the kitchen. I started to organize our kitchen junk drawer, and then I started folding laundry, and it just kind of turned into a very cleansing organizational session. And while I was doing all of this, I had my headphones on, and I had, this is so like sad and sappy, I had like Adele, Ed Sheeran, just kind of like some sappy songs going in my headphones, and I had my notebook open the whole time, and it's on the couch, and that's where I am now. But I had my notebook open, and I made it a point to just jot down thoughts as they popped into my mind, or things that I have to do, or people that I need to talk to and what I need to tell them, and any little realizations that I've run into. And I just jotted them down in the notebook. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait a second, I feel like I've got some good potential podcast content in here. The format of today's episode is kind of interesting because I've been so cluttered in my mind. It's been hard for me to kind of pin down what exactly I want to touch on, because I feel like I'm going in so many different directions. It's hard for me to like reel it back in and be like, okay, what do I think you guys need to hear right now? So I kind of had a cool idea while I was cleaning. I found the game We're Not Really Strangers, and Lex and I played this a couple months ago, I want to say, and it was just such a cool way to get to know someone on a deeper level. And so I figured that I would just pull a couple cards from that deck and just answer them, talk about them, chat about them, and you guys can kind of just like get to know where my head is at. And it's super random, so I won't know what the card says before I pull it, and it will just be like a super authentic in the moment answer. and I don't know, kind of like a fun, interesting, different type of podcast episode. Before we get into the game, I wouldn't call it like a game. Before we get into the conversation of today's podcast episode, let's go ahead and do our highs and lows. I kind of just like forgot to do segments there for a little bit, so I'm trying to bring it back. We'll start with my low for the week would probably just be that I'm definitely sad right now. I'm very, very sad. And like I said, I was like cleaning my house to like sad Adele songs. Her one song, Hold On. Holy shit. I've never listened to that song before, but do you ever like, you skip over songs and then eventually you come back to them and it's almost like you knew at the time that you were skipping the song, you didn't need the song, but then now you come back to the song or you re-find an old song that you used to listen to and you're like, holy shit, this applies to my life so heavily right now, or it applies differently than it used to. So long story short, I found Hold On, which I had been skipping on her newest album. I was like, damn, this is an absolute banger. So I listened to that probably like 12 times, cried a bunch, and listened to some other songs. I made a playlist. It's called Sappy Season. Maybe I'll link it in the show notes for you guys. Anyway, that would have to be my low, that I'm just really going through it. I posted some funny stuff on my close friend story on Instagram the other day, and I went to pour, like, you can't even make this up. I went to pour kombucha in a wine glass, and I don't know why I was filming it, but I was just gonna be like, I think I was gonna make some joke or something, but the joke essentially wrote itself because I was looking at the wine glass through my camera, and my perception was off, or my, depth perception was off because I was looking at it through my camera, not in real life, and I totally missed the glass. Like, I just started pouring it directly onto the coffee table, and it was the funniest thing. So I just put that on my close friend story along with like a couple other like funny little jokes, and a bunch of my friends were like, when it rains it pours, like, keep your head up. Also, just wanted to shout out all the people in my life. This is crazy to me. All the people in my life that I know personally that listen to the podcast. And I say this because when I did YouTube back in high school and early college, people would watch my videos, but I always felt really weird about it. And the podcast is the first project, thing. It's the first thing that I do that I truly feel like is what I'm supposed to be doing. It's the first thing in my whole life that I've ever felt so right about. And I was getting in the car with a friend the other day, and he plugged in his phone on Spotify, and it just popped up, like, recently listened to 80/20, and I just laughed, and he was like, yeah, I listened to some episodes, and that just, like, continues to happen again and again. I got a text the other day from a friend, and she had her TV pulled up in her apartment, and she pulled up Spotify on her TV, and I guess it was her roommate's account that was logged in, and it was, like, recently played 80/20. I've never met her roommate, but that was, like, super cool. She's like, hey, it looks like my roommate's listening to you, and I was just like, dang, that's so crazy that people that I know in my life listen and support the show. Even people that I wouldn't think would listen to the podcast do. So just know that I'm super grateful for you. If you're in my life and you listen to the show and I don't know, let me know, because that's super cool. It's not weird. Oh, the other thing too is this past weekend, I met so many podcast listeners. It's insane. I was in DC doing an event, and a listener just happened to walk by the event, and she just walked right up and introduced herself, and it was like the coolest thing. And then I guess we'll kind of like skip ahead into my high is that I ran a 5K, but at the 5K, it was like 10 minutes before the start, and a listener came up to me there too. So shout out to Kate and shout out to Erica for saying hi. I feel like ever since this year started, I've met so many of you guys. So seriously, if you see me out in public, please come say something to me. It's not weird. It's like the coolest thing. It makes my day every single time that it happens. I love meeting you guys, and it's like the coolest thing to see this community in real life. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. I love you all so much, and I'm just so grateful. Something that I wrote down when I was doing my house cleaning extravaganza, therapy session, crying, listening to Adele, journaling at the same time situation, I wrote down, for the first time in my life, it feels like I'm not being picked last in PE class for kickball. I just feel so much support And I'm super grateful for that. So thank you guys for always being there for me. And I love you guys. And I'm not going to cry again because I composed myself. And yeah, let's roll into the quote of the week. I have been heavily in my Pinterest era, and I can't pick just one. I literally was just scrolling, trying to figure out which quote I wanted to use, and I can't pick just one. So I'll just leave my entire Pinterest board linked in the description for you guys. I just have so many things saved that I think are so fitting to just where I am in my life and how I feel and all this stuff. I figured that I'd just pick one, and if you guys want to kind of check out all the rest, you can obviously just click the link in the show notes, check out my Pinterest board, follow me. I'm pinning stuff all day long, so check it out. But the quote goes like this: "They keep asking me where happiness can be found, but I'm no longer trying to find happiness. I just appreciate where I am, and then happiness finds me." I've had a lot of conversations lately with friends kind of around the topic of nothing matters. And not in the sense that like nothing matters, but in the sense that like there's so much more to life than this current little like blip in time of what we're going through. But it's just like a good reminder that life is short, literally nothing matters. Go have fun with your friends, enjoy yourself, and stop worrying about checking boxes all the time and like sitting around waiting to be happy. That's never gonna happen. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you probably know this about me, but I'm never satisfied. And I'm almost like addicted to change. And so I think for me, just allowing happiness, joy, laughter, fun to find me in the moment, that's an easier concept for me to grasp rather than being like, oh, I'm not happy with my life, like everything has to change. I feel like I'm kind of rambling right now, and I hope that some of that made sense. But anyway, I just really like that quote. I thought that it was fitting. This episode is brought to you by Athletic Greens. I gave AG1 a try because I wanted a supplement that was easy to integrate into my day-to-day routine. Within about a month of taking AG1, I noticed that my digestion was better and I had more energy throughout the day. Personally, I like to take it first thing in the morning. I take it before my coffee, before breakfast, and it's quickly become one of the best parts of my morning routine. AG1 is just 1 scoop of powder mixed with water once per day. It's an all-in-one formula that makes it really easy to cover my nutritional basis every single morning. A fun fact, it's actually been a part of millions of mornings since 2010. If you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is go to athleticgreens.com/8020. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/8020. Check it out. So let's go ahead and get into the fun part of today's episode. We're going to play We're Not Really Strangers, but I'm the only one playing. And if you guys aren't familiar with this game, it's a really cool way to get to know someone. Obviously, you want to be like comfortable with them. It's definitely not like a first date activity or like a just getting to know someone type of activity. I feel like maybe like a 5th date would be okay, maybe. Or do it with like your best friends. But I ordered this game off of Amazon because Lex and I were kind of just my sister and I live together and it's super fun and we're best friends. And we literally just talk all day long to the point where like, you know, when you're on a date and you both are just like nodding your heads because like there's nothing more to talk about. Like we're kind of getting to the point where like there's nothing more to talk about. So we're just like, okay, cool. Or we just keep talking about the same stuff over and over again, beating the dead horse. And then I was like, okay, we need to get something to prompt us to talk about something different. So I ordered this game and we played it and it was super fun. Essentially, there are 3 different categories. So category 1 is like the warm-up cards. Category 2 is like middle tier. Category 3 is like the big questions and that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to I'll probably do like 1 or 2 cards from each category because I feel like it'll probably start to heat up a little bit, which is interesting. Or hopefully, I don't know, maybe. This would be fun to play with Lexi on the podcast. So maybe I'll do that next time. Anyway, she's not here. This is about me. Let's go ahead and pull a card from the one category. And my first, oh, this is fun. What is my go-to karaoke song? Oh, the other thing too is this game is played where I pull a card and I would ask you the question about me. So you would have to guess the answer about me and I would have to tell you, if that kind of makes sense. So the first card that I pulled says, what do you think is my go-to karaoke song? So ideally, if we were playing together, you would answer the question about me, if that kind of makes sense. So what do you guys think is my go-to karaoke song? If you said Party in the USA, you would be correct. That song gets everybody going. I've never had a bad experience with Party in the USA. Across the board, it's a good one. Second card from the level 1 category. Do I seem like someone who would get a name tattooed on myself? Why or why not? I wouldn't get a name tattooed on myself, but I definitely want a tattoo. My problem, however, is that I don't know what the tattoo would be, and I keep changing my mind. I keep flipping back and forth between tons of different designs, but I do want to get a tattoo. My sisters and I want to get a sister tattoo, but we just can't pin down exactly what design we want. And I know that you're supposed to think about what you want for a year and be fully in love with it. But kind of going back to the concept of I'm addicted to change, I don't know if I can ever commit to a tattoo. So that's my problem. All right, we'll pull one more from the one category. Ooh, it's a reminder card. So this isn't a question, it's just a little reminder. Let go of your attachment to the outcome. Ain't that the truth? All right, next question. This is an interesting one because I talked about getting picked last in kickball and PE class. The question is, do you think I was popular in school? Explain. This would be an interesting discussion to have with someone that I went to high school with. I never felt like people liked me in high school. Across the board, maybe that's just a life thing, but I never felt like people liked me in high school. I started my YouTube channel when I was a senior, and I had my videos played on blast at parties. People really liked to make fun of that. I also was kind of a goody two-shoes, and I really liked Taylor Swift, so that was a very easy thing for people to hate on me for because it was cool at the time to like Taylor Swift. However, to an outsider, I probably was part of the I don't want to say popular crowd because I never felt I was never invited to the parties. I was never in with that group, but I was adjacent to them. I don't know. I don't even know if I was well liked. I still wish that my high school experience was better and more enjoyable than it was, but to be completely honest, I really, really was not a fan of high school. I really wasn't a fan of school in general. So level 2 is about connection. So these questions kind of get a little more spicy. Not spicy like that, but it gets more interesting. Okay, so first question that I pulled, we're about to get really vulnerable. You guys ready? Buckle up, strap in. Are you lying to yourself about anything? This is interesting. I would say that I'm not very kind to myself, especially right now, just because I feel like I'm mentally in a cloudy, foggy, not great headspace. And even projecting that into the world isn't a good thing. I would probably say that I tell myself lies about myself. Obviously, I'm not gonna I don't want to spit them out on the podcast because then I'm just showing, really just laying all my cards out on the table. But I would say that I definitely do lie to myself. All right, next question. Is there a feeling you miss? This is interesting. I just had this conversation the other day with a friend. You know the feeling that you get when you have a crush on someone? It's almost better than actually being with them. It's an interesting concept, but just hear me out. When you have a crush on someone and you're kind of getting to know them, you're not sure if he likes you back, and it's kind of fun. It's mysterious, you guys are kind of flirty, but you're not really sure about him, and you're not sure if he's gonna call, but then he does, and it's kind of this fun little flirty thing. So I don't currently have like a crush or anybody that I'm like spending time with or talking to or anything like that, but definitely like the feeling of falling for someone. I don't know if I'd say that I miss it, because I definitely just need to be single right now, but I definitely think that like the crush phase, the talking phase, the oh my gosh, is he gonna call me phase is super fun. What's a dream that you've let go of? This is interesting. So I used to really want to teach fitness. About this time last year, I was trying to finish up my 200-hour yoga certification, and I moved at the time. I got a new job, and just with all the stress of everything happening, I couldn't put the time and energy into finishing that certification. And so it's been a year now, and I still haven't finished it, and I haven't really had an opportunity to finish it. So I've just kind of like let go of the idea that that is like on the table for me right now. I also am a certified spin instructor. I just don't teach because for the same reasons we moved, my life got shuffled, and my priorities had to go elsewhere. But it's always been a dream of mine to teach fitness, and I've let go of that. So maybe we bring that back in the coming months. Now we're going to move on to category 3. So typically this is like a cool opportunity for the person that you're doing this with to just kind of like give you some cool feedback. So I'm just going to obviously like answer for myself. But I definitely like, maybe I want to hear what you guys have to say. If it's nice, positive, happy feedback. Based on what you learned about me, what book would you recommend that I read? That's a question for you guys. You can hit me up in the DMs. What do you think my superpower is? It would be interesting to hear what you guys have to say about this. I would say my superpower is when I think about the way that I serve people, other people in my life, people in my close circle, I definitely think that talking words, which is super fitting because that's literally what we're doing here, is talking, kind of just like being a sounding board. I heavily rely on my intuition, especially when like reaching out to people or in conversation with people, talking conversation, and just having a way of letting my intuition guide me when it comes to interacting with the people in my life. This is interesting, and I'll just leave this for you guys. What do you think I should know about myself that perhaps I'm unaware of? That would be really interesting to hear from you guys. So what do you think I should know about myself that perhaps I'm unaware of? I think I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with that. If you want to hit me with any of these answers to these questions, they're hard to answer for myself, obviously, especially in like the level 3 round. If you want to hit me up in the DMs, let me know what you guys think. I feel like that'd be a really interesting way to just like interact with you guys and get to know you, and just like get to know each other more. Once again, the game is called We're Not Really Strangers. I'll have it linked in the show notes. I feel like I could have done like an advertisement or something for them. This game is super, super cool. Even just pulling it out today reminded me that I want to play this with like so many people in my life. So if you're listening to this and you want to play, send me a text and let's like arrange a date to do that. We can like cook dinner and play We're Not Really Strangers. And yeah, I love you guys a lot. Thank you so much for listening, for coming back every single week. Seriously, would not know what I would do without you guys. Love you a lot. I hope that you have a great rest of your week, and I will chat with you soon.